It's the toughest, most glamorous motor race in the world, the Monaco Grand Prix round the famous twisting streets of Monte Carlo. Even the best can come unstuck here. Last year, Schumacher lost it in the wet, as only 3 cars took the checkered flag. A year on, Heinz-Harald Frenzen's first Grand Prix win in Imola has thrown the Drivers' Championship wide open. But the misery continues for the world champion. Damon Hill running into trouble in Italy and still looking for his first finish in the Arrows. Welcome to the ITV yacht, bobbing around a bit in the harbour at Monte Carlo as we look back at the highlights of the 55th Monaco Grand Prix. Coming up, we have reaction from the pits, the views of Tony Jardine as well. We'll also be talking to Max Mosley, president of the sports governing body. Now, anyone who manages to overtake here really deserves a medal. So qualifying is very important. Here's Louise Goodman to tell us how they lined up.
Still looking for his first pole of the season, Michael Schumacher was the early pace setter with a lap time over 2 seconds faster than last year. Jacques Villeneuve hung it all out, but this time the Canadian was just off the pace and just offline, clipping the barriers and bringing his afternoon to an abrupt finish. Mika Hakkinen gave us another reminder of just how unforgiving this track can be. But McLaren teammate David Coulthard was the top place Brit. He ended the day 5th. It was a good day for Jordan too, both cars in the top 6 and a career best for Giancarlo Fisichella. But the day really belonged to Heinz-Harald Frenzen. A resident of Monaco, he was right at home around the streets of the Principality and justifiably proud of his first ever pole.
Yeah, it's very great here to be on the front, and especially my first pole position is a very pleasant moment.
Your confidence must be at a real high at the moment after that win in San Marino and now pole here.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood, I have to say. Yeah.
You look as though you're in a good mood. What about the race tomorrow? Prospects for it, starting from pole.
Well,
that's a good chance.
That's a different thing. It's very important to have a good start tomorrow. It's very important here in Monaco because overtaking is quite difficult. Try to have a good start. I'll do my best.
So once again, it's a Williams in front, but this time it's Heinz-Harald Frenzen, his first pole, alongside Michael Schumacher. Jacques Villeneuve off the front row for the first time this year, with Giancarlo Fisichella 4th, a great performance in the Jordan. Row 3, David Coulthard leading the British Challenge in the McLaren, and Ralf Schumacher in the second Jordan. Johnny Herbert 7th, looking promising in the Sauber, Mika Hakkinen 8th. The 5th row. Jean Alesi, Benetton, and Rubens Barrichello, the quickest Bridgestone runner. Stewart happy to be in the top 10 again. Next, Larini and Panis, Sauber and Prost. Behind them, Damon Hill, 13th in the Arrows alongside Mika Salo's Tyrrell. Not a good weekend so far for Eddie Irvine, back in 15th in the Ferrari, with Pedro Diniz 16th. One better than Gerhard Berger. Another disappointing session for the Austrian. Berger 17th alongside Trulli. Then it's Magnussen and Katayama, and right at the back, Nakano and Verstappen. Well, a heavy swell here in the harbour was followed by heavy rain right before the off. It necessitated all sorts of changes. Most teams went out on wet weather tyres. Williams, though, gambled on slicks. Regular reports from James Allen and Louise Goodman in the pits.
Double world champion Michael Schumacher and Ferrari, a quite incredible achievement, which puts them ahead of the rest for the first time for a long time. A great day at Monaco.
So another race of attrition. 22 started, only 10 finished. Let's just check where everyone ended up with Murray again.
What a day. Joy for Michael Schumacher, Eddie Irvine and Ferrari, and for the Stewart team. Their first points from Rubens Barrichello and 7th place for Jan Magnussen. Great for Tyrrell too, with both their drivers home and 2 points for Mika Salo. But misery for Williams, both drivers out and both championship leads lost. And for McLaren and for Arrows too. Failure for Johnny Herbert, failure for David Coulthard and failure for Damon Hill. But with 12 races to go, both championships are wide open, and that's the way it should be.
So plenty to talk about. We'll be hearing from the drivers, from Jackie Stewart. There's expert analysis coming up from Tony Jardine as well. All that in a couple of minutes. Points clear of Williams, who didn't register a point here in Monte Carlo. OK, let's have a word with some of the key characters.
Michael, you've had some great wins in your career, but surely this is one of the real great ones.
Oh, it's definitely a great one. Challenge-wise, from the driving point, is probably not the greatest, but emotion, and if you take everything together, it's certainly a very important one.
What was going through your mind when you went straight on at Saint Devote that one time?
Yeah, I saw a lot of Ferrari supporters with the Ferrari flag, so I thought I should do something for them.
But really, you had it very comfortably in the bag from the start.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I had a comfortable lead, and except this one occasion, going straight on in Saint Devote, it was mostly under control.
Rubens, your face says it all. Second place in the Monaco Grand Prix in a Stewart Ford.
It's great to be here. It's a great time with the team. I'm very proud, not just for me, but for the whole team, because just the team knows how difficult it was to be here, you know, to build the whole team. And, you know, I'm proud to be part of this family with Jackie and Paul. It's a great place. It was not long ago when I would turn on the TV and Ayrton was winning here. So the podium meant a lot to me, really a lot.
Well, there's the trophy that says Rubens Barrichello finished second. Jackie Stewart is a very happy man today.
Oh, I've never been happier in my entire racing career. No championship, no victory have I ever felt this emotional, first of all. This satisfied, this happy, this pleased for everybody, for the mechanics, for Alan Jenkins over there, for Egbal Hamidi, who's our designer and our aerodynamicist, Egbal, for Paul, the whole family Stewart, for Ford and for Bridgestone, for HSBC and for Malaysia, and everybody who supported it, Texaco and Sanyo. All of these companies came in with a brand new team with, you know, maybe 5 years to wait to get a result like this. And that wasn't a commercial, it really wasn't. Without them, we couldn't have even started to do it. And to get in our 5th race, a 2nd place in Monaco, of all places. I've never been second in Monaco, ever. So, you know, for me, I cannot tell you how happy I am.
And it wasn't an easy day to drive a racing car in either, was it?
Rubens did just the most amazing job. He has a driver who's come alive, a driver with maturity, really a driver who we could not have asked for better today. The win by Michael Schumacher was extraordinary. I mean, no wonder he gets paid so much, but Rubens Barrichello drove today like a master.
Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it? You know, 15th to 3rd, it was bloody enjoyable. The first few laps were a bit hectic, but the car was great under braking and was able to outbrake anyone I came up against. And, you know, a few people went in the wrong tyres and that made it easy to overtake them, and everything went my way.
Well, then a wonderful day here for Ferrari, but Tony Jardine for Stewart as well.
A great day for Jackie Stewart, for Paul Stewart, for Ford as well. They'd never have thought in their wildest dreams they could get a 2nd place. Jackie's been very careful with his predictions.
Another miserable old day, though, for Damon Hill.
Terrible day for Damon Hill, but it's not the team's fault this time. The car's been running reliably all the way through, and after the mayhem caused by David Coulthard, and then...
Now on HTV, live coverage of the qualifying session of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Glamour, money, success, colour, speed. Welcome to the Millionaire's Playground of Monaco, 700 years old this year and celebrating in traditional style with one of the world's greatest sporting events. Graham Hill won it 5 times. Ayrton Senna made it 6. Who's going to be number 1?
Okay, now go. I will survive. As long as I've had Weetabix, I'll get them all to drive. I've got 4 more tests to do. Looks like they haven't got a clue, but I'll survive.
Weetabix. Once we've started you, there's no...
Sellafield nuclear reprocessing plant in Cumbria. Thousands of spent radioactive fuel rods arrive from around the world by road and by rail. It's an exceptionally hazardous business. The fuel rods travel protected in these 50-ton, foot-thick flasks forged from solid blocks of steel without any joins or flaws. The atmosphere here is constantly checked, and the sound that you can hear is known as the safe sound. These flasks cost £500,000 each, and a lot of that is spent on testing. Okay, they're strong, but with nuclear fuel rods inside, in the case of an accident, there can be no second chance. Accidents just waiting to happen in the name of testing. Transporting nuclear fuel will always be controversial, and the materials that protect us from radiation have to be tested to destruction. This train is on a journey to oblivion. It's on a collision course with a flask like the ones at Sellafield. A previous experiment, dropping a container from a crane, had gone a little wrong. Out of 100 tons of water in the flask, a thin spray had leaked out. So, some further tests and changes, and to prove that they worked, a few months later, a Type 46 locomotive with 3 coaches and no driver heads at the same flask laid across a test track in Leicestershire. The train hits 100 miles an hour, and then it hits the flask. There was some scarring and buckling on the metal of the flask, but pressure tests proved that the contents, along with the rest of us, were safe. Tests like this go on around the world. A different train in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and a different flask on a stalled lorry. The runaway train goes down the track, and she blows. But not the flask, which survives the 80-mile-an-hour impact with its contents intact. With computer predictions and scale models, scientists have tried to foresee every imaginable nuclear nightmare. But to check the results, they still need to try some for real. So next, a road crash. A flask on a rocket-powered driverless lorry smashes head-on into concrete. At 60 miles an hour, the flask is unharmed. There's not enough damage to measure. So they load it onto another truck and do it all again, but faster, at 80 miles an hour. They're going to need another truck, and at first the flask looks bad. But it's just a bit of lorry debris, no damage. So they put it on a train powered by a rocket sled. But though everything's collapsed around it, the flask is fine. So they set fire to it in a pool of burning jet fuel at 1400 degrees Fahrenheit for 90 minutes. But the flask's interior kept its cool, so it's flask 4, test as nil. It survived everything they threw at it, fire and concrete walls. They'd have been better off trying to break the concrete itself. And that's just what they did next, with an F-4 Phantom jet. The US government wanted to test what would happen if a plane crashed into the concrete walls of a nuclear power station. The jet sets off, bolted to a track to prevent takeoff. It's doing 500 miles an hour. The plane atomized with the impact. It just disappeared into dust. Only the tips of the wings escaped total destruction. But the wall designed to move and absorb energy did its job well. In over 30 years of nuclear journeys, there's never been a major accident. But no test can ever be too drastic.